and joining me tonight is Dr. Fish and Tom Carter. First, Tom, how are you doing?
Good, good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Things are good
Yeah,
here.
it's such a nice week for DHL.
Something like that. Fish, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Having a good week.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, we have a lot to cover. And so let's start with our players of the week. Fish, who is our Wild NA server player of the week?
Our wild NA player of the week is none other than Wild THL Fanatics Electric Sheep City. He This team entered week 4 without a win and was searching for something to help jumpstart their season, and they were down 6-10 in points after 3 matches. Things not looking great. But then Electric Sheep City had a very tough matchup against our very own co-host Tom Carter and was able to pull out a sweep, which helped set the match back to 10-10 with one more match to go. And WTF was able to come away with their first win of the season. So well done to Sheep.
Congratulations, yes.
Yeah.
No, he
So,
he he played really well and yeah, it was fair and square. You know.
yeah, very close. Uh, Speaking of other close matches, Tom, who's our EU player of the week?
Our EU Player of the Week is Alv 987. Alv remains the last undefeated player in the Wild EU series, and he deserves even more credit this week. With the week on the line, he entered his matchup against Week's 2 Player of the Week, Dante's Cheat. A win not only kept by this win kept Alf's record perfect, but also guaranteed that F2L Celadon didn't fall to the top seeded Agony. As it turns out, a little Agony is no match for Player of the Week, with Alf coming on top 3-2.
Thank you for that, Tom. Now, we do still have a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into the meta overview real quick. So on the screen, we'll see all the brings and archetypes from last week. Feels like every week this sees a few slight changes, and the image shrinks more and more with fewer archetypes. But we're still seeing shifts within each class. Demon Hunter, two more brings than last time. Brute Demon Hunter is the one that sticks out. Druid still climbing. Three more Druids this week compared to the previous one. Hunter seeing a bounce back with seven more brings. Mage is pretty stable, only one more bring than last time. Paladin and Priest both falling, -6 and -8 brings respectively. Rogue seemingly stable at -2 brings compared to the week prior. Shaman seeing a huge jump, and this is across all different kinds of archetypes. It's not just one. Okay, we have a lot of control Shaman. We still have Reno, Shutterwalk, Big, Evolve, and Overload coming in. So Shaman is just seeing an increase across the board this last week. Warlock finally peaked last week, drops to 87 from 88 the week prior. And Warrior sees a slight slip, seven fewer brings to the nice number right there.
Hmm.
How do you guys feel about this? Tom?
So I think that first of all, I love seeing another Demon Hunter deck that is not Odd Demon Hunter. I know some people brought Death Rattle Demon Hunter, but that deck is not uh, a thing for me at least. For DHL, I mean. And Brute Demon Hunter seems like a really solid deck. Um, Priest, I'm one of those that made the Priest number go down. I don't know. This week, Aggro Priest felt like the wrong answer to complete my deck list or my decks. I mean, to complete the fourth deck. And yeah, super interesting to see that we are seeing a rise of Shaman. I think that's a really nice class. Even though I'm not a big fan of Shaman personally, it's a really healthy quote unquote class to bring to THL because it's always the, as you said it, the kind of control thing that we want to see more.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff where you just control the board, drop some late game bombs, and say that's enough.
Yeah, those matches were probably the ones that we don't see anymore, where you get to turn 10 and so on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Fish, any comments you want to make?
Um, I mean, I like to see a lot of diversity, so I know I believe this encompasses both series, which is why there's quite a lot. Um,
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some, I guess, what people would call meme archetypes as well,
yeah,
like
like
Cthulhu Rogue,
clumsy
Nomi
mage.
Rogue, Clumsy Mage, Dinomancer Warlock.
Yeah.
Let's see, Tech
tech
Druid.
tech druid.
Oh wait,
There is
I
really
want to
no
play.
other way to call it.
was it
I want
just
to
was it
play
just Druid
that.
with a
I
lot
don't
of
know what it
text?
is.
It's Druid with a bunch of
Oh,
texts
okay.
and Zephyrus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
was
yeah,
yeah. We
yeah, I
can-
it
want to
was
play that.
basically a spiteful Druid, but
Oh,
the spiteful aspect was just included. It wasn't the main part of the deck.
gotcha.
It's a very unique build,
Mhm.
for
Also,
lack of a
odd
better word.
legendary warrior. I imagine it's 35 legendaries warrior.
Uh, about 25. It's more legendaries than LPG Mage, and so it gets the name Legendary. Notice there's
Nice.
only one as well, so
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
it's fitting the Legendary moniker very well.
Mhm.
So, well, we're talking about these unique archetypes. We have a few decks that we're featuring this week that won last week. We should take a look at those back on the main screen. Yes, Destruct Warrior, but we're trying to avoid the Jomber naming and not name, or the Ruishong naming and not name these decks after people, much to Otters's dismay,
Oh.
because we all know how much he loves doing that with Corvette Mage. So
Oh yeah, that's
first,
right.
the first one we have here is Concerned Mom's Shadow Otk Priest. So this is a huge hedge against control. Okay, it's very difficult to disrupt outside of things like Lotheb because it has the Resurrect. Okay, play Radiant Elemental and Gadget Sand Auctioneer. Then you cycle through your deck. At some point, you play Embrace the Shadow, and then send a bunch of healing spells to the opponent's face. And it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
personally love this deck. I was telling Marty before the call, not before the call, but before the stream went live. I actually played a bunch of this deck, a slightly different list, but I really love to see it being played because it's there with one of my favorite combo decks of all time. It looks so silly, and when you look at it, you're like, but how am I supposed to kill my opponent? Yet, if it if it wins, like it wins hard, like it performs really well. I actually love it.
Yeah, I can say for myself, I made the mistake of bringing a slower control deck, and there's nothing I could have done against this without any armor. Unfortunately, my deck didn't gain any armor, so there was no chance.
And even with armor, I think that this deck has like 50 damage reach if you get high rolls with the shadow visions.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, it's pretty difficult. You need a lot of armor to get out of range. So
yeah.
it's
So
not.
so so it's not even a little bit like this deck, and even when you look at it, like nah, there is no way this deals like that much damage, but it does. Like if you're looking for a fun deck to play on ladder, uh, I would switch one or two cards for Hysteria, and there you go. I don't think you're going to win many games against Warlock, but yeah, that goes without saying. Actually,
It's a fun time. We do have
uh,
another deck to feature though, and this comes from Grandmaster Rami94. Let's pull that up on the screen real quick. So this right here is a brute demon hunter fitted from standard to wild. I believe there's only 2 wild cards in
Oh
here.
yeah, there's
Consume
2.
magic. Or no, there's 3, sorry. Consume magic and altruist the outcast. But boy, those cards matter. Consume magic is the cheap silence this deck always wanted, but doesn't have in standard consistently. Also serves as a very cheap cycle.
Yeah, that's why
You're,
the standard list of this deck runs Kain sometimes, because you want to get through taunts.
yeah, they run either Kane or now the more popular Librarian,
Oh,
the tradable Librarian to silence.
I knew
But
Oh yeah,
regardless,
I knew that card was
yeah,
in
but
regardless,
play.
one mana silence for cycling against like a tradable minion, that is super awkward.
yeah. So slightly fitted for wild, and it's still got to win. So congrats to Rami. This deck absolutely dumpsters anything remotely slow or anything that wants to have a big hand. It's also very bursty, so I imagine that Warlock will have a harder time against this because they can easily deal 20 or more damage with a single Lion's Frenzy attack. It's also very difficult for a lot of classes to deal with a turn 2 Irebound Brute on the board. So there's a lot of potential for high rolls here, and clearly Rami was able to do so and get a win with it. So congrats to him. And good job on the very unique deck building here, even if he took a little bit of inspiration from the other format.
I'm gonna copy the deck list. I'm going to play this. It looks really fun.
Yeah, it's for sure a lot of fun. I know Arhat played a lot of the standard variant last month and had a fantastic time, so I'm sure you will too.
Perfect.
All right. So with that, let's move on to matches. So first up, we have the Brown Conference. Fish, tell us about the standings in the Brown Conference.
Oh yeah, the standings in the Brown Conference are pretty um interesting. We kind of have like you have Aussie Pain Merchants and Everyone's a Winner as the 2 highest highest point earning teams. And then NoFin 2. So we kind of have 3 teams that are either 3-1, 4-0, or 2-2, and then Mankirk's Revenge sitting at 2-2, but I guess they would have been tied with WTF after last week. But they only have 49 points, but they have an extra match win, which tells me that they must have had a very low scoring, either a really bad loss or a really high scoring or a really low scoring win.
I believe it was a really bad loss
Oh, okay.
where most of them were blown out and they just lost across the board 5-0.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll do it. It's like the middle. I think the fourth seed in this conference is going to be very highly contested. And I think the top 3 teams there are going to have to really slip up and struggle to not have a pretty easy time the rest of the season to get towards playoffs.
Yeah, a 9-point gap between third and 4th
Mm-hmm.
is very difficult to make up, even this early in the season.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically 3/4 of a week, usually, or half a week, that someone needs to gain on the other team. So it's a chance it happens. It's unlikely. We'll have to wait and see. Until then, it seems very likely that Aussie Pain Merchants and even Everyone's a Winner have
Mm-hmm.
sealed their playoff berths for
Yeah.
this season.
Probably.
Yeah. Tom, tell us about the match.
Me. Okay. No Fin against Bash Bros. In the first seed, Rice Bowl against Reverb. Reverb took the win. 3-2. A really close win. The bans were Druid and Warlock. I'm surprised Reverb didn't ban Warlock. I don't know if it was seed luck. I've seen a rise of even luck in THL, and I think that's a really neat deck. Second seed, we have Glare against Anubinator, with Glare taking the win 32. Third seed, we have Tiger Eye against Jailstorm, with Jailstorm taking the win, 3-2. Seth against Mr. Python on seed number 4, with Seth Forkrist taking the win, 3-2. And then we have EPT Hopper against Nin City, having a sweep, 3-0, taking the win for Nofin, who's now 16-12.
Yeah. Nin City taking the 0-3 sweep there in their first match in THL, but I believe they're still playing this week, correct? They're
Oh,
subbing in for another team?
I do not know.
I believe
I
they
don't.
are.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think they can seed. I don't think they can sub for another team anymore.
Yeah,
Yes, they can.
It's
I
under.
subbed for like 3 different teams last season.
Yeah, but now it's on the rules that you can, once you sub for one team, you cannot sub for another.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I think there are read an announcement or something.
No. That's for playoffs where you can't be on one team, drop, and then get onto another team during playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, I thought it was subs across all the weeks.
No, just for playoffs. Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So, yeah, and they are playing there with Tom. Tom, Nin City is on your team this week. How did you not know this? Tom.
Honestly, I thought that the name looked familiar, but the problem is that we are we are
No need to explain. Don't worry.
no.
Point is, my point before was that Nin City will get their chance at their first win in THL this week. So best of luck to them. Now we have a second match within Brown. Tom, I'm also going to be discussing your match now between Wild THL Fanatics and your team, the Pong Merchants. So
Oh,
this we were discussing earlier, and this was a very, very tight match until there were 2 sweeps on the THL Fanatics side. So it was originally 10-6 with Excalibur and Martian Boo taking 2 wins for the Pog Merchants and Labore Sangre taking a 3-2 win over Charb. Then just after that, Electric Sheep City and Skittles both came in with 3-0 sweeps over Tom, right over here next to me, and an Awful Artist to win their first week of the season.
mm-hmm.
Tom, how did these other matches go? We heard a bit about yours earlier with the Player of the Week stuff, but how are the rest of the matches and what were your game plans here?
We are still so Martian is now no longer a sub. He's replacing Base, at least for like a couple more weeks, as far as I know. And we are getting used to the new organization, right? To the new players. That's why we are like a little bit more disorganized with like what we should bring, or um, I don't know. Martian is a really good player. I am actually not surprised that he had a swept. Um, he is the first one to always ask like what he should bring, and he's really into it, even though it's his first season in DHL. And I'm
It's
really
not. So he played actually a few seasons back. So this is his first season back after a while.
oh, after a while, I thought it was his first season. I
Nope.
mean, last season was my first one, so I don't know everyone yet. Um, but he's a really good player, and I'm really glad that he's on my team. As for Escabrine and Charip, they are solid players. They are doing their best. But as everyone right now, the meta is not that enjoyable, so we need a little bit more practice. I think we are gonna get it. and we are no longer going to be at the bottom of the standing. You have my word.
I'm holding you to it, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, with that, that covers the Brown Conference. Let's move on to Green. So, first things first, we have the Green Conference standings. Hat was doing a little adjusting on the website. And with that adjusting came a few casualties. The first one was the Green Conference being a little off centered, unlike the Brown Conference. And we'll see the EU Wild Series. So we have Hair Club and Meta-Droolers, both 4-0, both at the top. They get their logos on screen as a result, followed by F2 Viridian and Owl at 62 and 61 points respectively. Mad Scientists, also very close, 59 points, right on the bubble. Then we drop down, and the Golden Hand and the usual suspects at 0-4 apiece, falling behind a bit now.
Well, at least my team's not the bottom team. I mean, it's close enough, but
It's okay. There's still time.
We put up good points against everyone's a winner last week, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you faced some of the harder guys, so
yeah,
maybe you can take a big week and gain some ground again.
For sure.
So let's look at the first matchup then between Meta-Droolers and Mad Scientists. Tom, tell us about this.
Meta-Droolers against Mad Scientists, with Meta-Droolers getting the win. Lasagna on the first seed against Catharsis, taking a win 3-1. QWERTY 019283 against I don't know how to pronounce that.
Number Theory.
Number Theory, with Number Theory taking the win. Lasagna and Number 3 are still 4-0, which means they haven't taken a loss yet. Then on the third seed, we have Corneria against Veteranum, with Corner taking the win 3-1 against the Mad Scientist player. Then we have a sweep from Godbout 1-3 against Nomad Farmer.
I wish that was a sweep. That was actually
no, that was a DQ.
That's a DQ.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
DQ.
You hate to see it.
You really do, yeah.
These things happen sometimes. So Meta-Droolers will take the win.
Yeah. So I was looking at the other table, and that's why I didn't know it was a DQ.
No problem.
And then we have No Way against Kenray, with No Way taking the win. His first win of the season.
Yeah, congrats, No Way.
Yeah.
So, shout out No Way in the chat for that. Finally getting the win.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not much to be said about this. Meta-Droolers just continuing their dominance in the Green Conference. Okay, right behind Hair Club now. Neck and neck, 3 points apart. It'll be an interesting race to follow as the season progresses. So, our second match, Fish, tell us about overpowered wild leaderboard versus the usual suspects.
All right. Yeah, so we've got a very another match that kind of played out like a blowout. With Turtle taking the only loss for his team in the one seed against Snake Fawds 3-1, while Nice Jewish Owl took a 3-1 over Kyrex. Possible Hope took a sweep over Tree 2582. Hello 547. It looks like they got a DQ win, which is rather unfortunate, against Peanuts. And then Geranium Battle, shoutouts to my co-host for Tavern Talk and my opponent this week. He got a 3-0 sweep over Duo Cat down in the 5 seed.
Yeah, well done, Geranium. So, yeah, there's not too much to be said here either. Owl really taking advantage of this week and catapulting themselves up in the standings. Okay, this really hurt Mad Scientists more than anyone.
Yeah,
because this allowed Owl to leapfrog them and get back in the race. It's still going to be really close, but we know that Owl was one of the underdogs in the conference,
Yeah.
and for them to be at this point is a very good sign. So it's still
Yeah,
a
for
long season,
sure.
but things are definitely looking up for this team, and a lot of people didn't expect this from them. Great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We have
congrats.
still more to see with the supposed incoming nerfs. So yeah, this is going to be quite the interesting, quite the interesting season.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure of it because so last season the thing here is that we have so much warlock and so much warrior that you put yourself in a position where you either counter or ban, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
some people think that that makes uh, the decks uh, lacked by variety or diversity. That's what I meant. But as we saw earlier, like we are not lacking diversity of decks. We are seeing decks that didn't so play back then because Reno decks were more dominant, right? But with Reno decks gone, we are looking at really interesting decks that could not be played before, and you simply ban Warlock. Um, and I think this is a really interesting season of DHL just because of that.
Yeah, this season has definitely been turned on its head in terms of the meta.
Yeah,
So
but not for the bad, not for the bad. At least in my opinion.
I was gonna say that's a hot take and a half. I don't think everyone here is gonna agree with that, given how many decks have become obsolete in this meta, really. So
No, I know in this meta for ladder, but for THL, uh, the decks are new, right? We don't
it is, but
see.
again, a lot of things are seeing significantly less play as a result. So I don't know. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and there's different
Mine
ways of looking at things. So
maybe mine is really bad. I don't know.
who knows? We're all about bad takes here.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, we're gonna move on to the EU series and give more bad takes over there.
Yes, perfect. The
I want to hear
EU,
your bad take. I want to hear your bad take about the Wild Series standings right now.
my bad take. On the first place, we have a little agony with 75 points. Then we have. God damn it! You always give me the hardest name to pronounce, and
EU, everyone's a winner.
It's everyone's a winner,
You
but
can blame Sunday.
yeah, blame
it's my.
yeah.
But
Yeah, you can blame Sunday.
I'm gonna blame everyone.
Aw.
You're making it to purpose. You're giving me the hardest name to read because you know that I look at that and I'm like, no,
It's fine.
everyone,
Just say, yeah.
everyone's a winner.
See, that's not bad.
It's horrible. I mean, pronunciation is ah. With
Aww.
72 points. Then we have Goku number one, which I think was USA number one like a week ago.
Yeah.
That was the first week, and then they changed it to Goku #1, and he hasn't lost since.
Yeah, I think he is actually their one seed now.
Yeah. Well, what a nice change then. Then we have F2L Celadon with 54 points, Safari Wild with 47, and closing the EU Wild series we have Bad Tech Cars with 37 points. It's surprising that the first team and the third team are 20 points away, because that's like a whole week, right?
Yeah, it's a huge gap.
Yeah.
That is
Keep in mind,
really.
though, I believe 4 out of the 6 teams make playoffs. So,
Yeah, no, for sure, but it's still remarkable the powerhouse that a little agony is, given they have a lot of points, and the same thing with everyone's a winner with 72.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I'm getting corrected by chat. See? Bad takes all around. That's what the show is for. All 6 make playoffs. The top 2 teams get a bye. And the bottom 4 seeds play a qualifier to get into the next round, basically.
No.
So it appears that the 2 buys are pretty
Probably
locked in.
locked.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Are they playing a double round robin this season, or are they just?
They are.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
we
that makes
have 10
sense.
weeks double round robin.
Okay,
I have no idea what that means.
so each team plays each other twice.
Correct.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a Robin.
Yes, that is round robin.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I need to learn more about
Mhm.
stuff.
That's what we're here for.
yeah, for sure.
So
Definitely.
let's take a look at the first match. Fish, tell us about this.
Yeah, first match we have F12 Celadon versus a little agony. And man, we've had some ties over in the standard series, and looks like we got one here. 14-14 tie with Alb 987, our player of the week, taking that 3-2 win over Tauntus Cheat. Lorthos taking a 3-2 victory over Yurna, while Mad Thanos took a sweep over Bedrooms. Copa taking a 3-2 loss to Eon Lee Bruce, and then or Ian Lee Bruce. I'm not 100% sure.
Ian LeBruce.
Yeah, and then we've got
Or Ian LeBruce, yeah.
yeah,
Ian Le Bruce.
and then
Yes.
yep. And then in the 5 seed, Mr. F12 Robobson gets a 3-2 win over Slod, his first win of the season.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
finally.
Brave Bobson.
Yeah, finally. I remember he posted that in some chat in the server. He's like, I finally got a win.
Yeah.
You always
do better.
remember. Yeah, but you always remember your first win in DHL.
Definitely.
Yeah, and this was Rebob's first win in Wild THL.
Yes.
So congrats to him.
Congrats, yeah.
So we have one other match in the EU Wild Series to discuss. And that is Goku #1 versus Bad Tech Cards. White Delight, I know you wanted me to talk about your team. This is kind of your team, though. You did sub for them after all. Your mistake, though, was dropping from the team. Because I could have talked about you right now. Instead, I have to complain about how Rotted won't let Goku take the 1 seed on his own team, Goku #1. Just take the L 1 week. It's okay. It needs to be done at some point. But really, though, Rotted, Goku, and Otters all took a sweep over Hey Feiron, and Mewtwo M. Engine took the sweep over Burnt, and Shadow Frog got a 3-1 win over Destruct. This was utterly dominant from Goku #1, and really put them up high in points now. So definitely a very good win for them. This hurts Bad Tech Cards a lot, but they're not out of the running yet. As we know, all teams are going to make playoffs, and they can turn things around. All that matters is the seeding, and you really want to improve your seeding and try to get the easiest opponent possible. So Bad Tech Cards still has some time to get exactly that. Any other comments from you guys?
This, like you said, this just looks like a huge win for Goku #1, which, you know, they're still quite a bit behind on the points, but they're sitting in that 3 seed spot. Them and F12 Celadon are gonna be battling it probably for that seeding. Safari Wild looks like they're pretty, like they can get in it with a big week though, for sure.
Yeah, Goku #1 with really top-notch players, and I think they can pull through with no problem.
We'll just have to wait and see on that
Yeah.
as the season progresses. Now, that wraps up the EU series. So we have one last segment for tonight, and that is the question of the week. I believe it's of the day on screen, but we can yell at our op for that, Lotus, who is not here tonight. So our question that we're going to be discussing is, what underperforming player will bounce back? Tom.
Ooh, that sounds like you want me to call someone underperforming.
Be anyone.
But if I had to choose a player that has been getting unlucky, I would say Burnt from Goku number 1 in the EU World Series. I think he's probably going to bounce back after playoffs, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, shout out Burnt. I like the pick. Fish, who do you have on your radar?
Um, I think I'm gonna say Nate Wolf. He's one of my buddies. He's at 1-3 right now, but I know he's a really good player. And so I'm gonna see if he can. I want to see if he can pick it up and start this week. He's got a good match against Mr. Python to play. So yeah, hoping to see him get that record up and have a nice season for himself.
Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Hoping for the best there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach into the EU series for my pick, and I believe they're in chat too. Still, they're doing extremely well in NA, 4-0, but they're having a harder time in EU. Going 2-3 so far, and that's Lasagna. Okay, this guy was destroying standard ladder for a bit last month. Really pushing for the Master Tour qualifier. And as we've seen, he's had plenty of success in NA this season. Plenty of rank 1 finishes, or hit rank 1 plenty of times, I should say. There's no way he doesn't bounce back.
Oh,
I
for
wouldn't be
sure.
surprised if he even goes undefeated for the rest of the season. So, no pressure, Lasagna, but I'm sure you can do it.
What a call. Come on, do it for old Marty here. He's he
Oh
got
no,
your
you have
back.
Hijo this week. It's fine. It's fine. I believe.
It's fine, Copium.
I believe in my Scandinavian brethren. So
Yeah,
it'll be fine.
you got it, Lasagna.
With that, that wraps up the show. So I just want to thank you guys again for stopping by. Thank you, Fish, for OPing and being here. And Tom, thanks for also being here and hosting with us.
Thank you for inviting me once more. I love doing these shows, and they are really fun, and I'm really glad I can be a part of it.
Yeah, glad to have you on. Fish, do you have any final words yourself?
No, nothing in particular. We got match shows coming up starting tomorrow. So yeah, just be tuning in for that. If you have a match and you want to be on stream, you can you can DM myself, you can DM Lotus Knight, Saku, and we'll get you on stream. And we love to have wild matches. Hopefully we can get at least one this week. That'd be nice.
Yeah, definitely hit them up. It's a lot of fun to be on stream. Would recommend. So, once again, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for being on the show, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.